for giving me your time to speak about Kold and Wendy, set in my hometown, Chicago.
Oh, awesome.
Right.
Great.
Congratulations on season 2. And
Thank you.
you know, representing the Windy City with this story, with this cast, with this crew, with this narrative. So let's kick things off. I'm gonna start with Miss Shakia. I know your character Malika is going through some intense emotional struggles this season. So how did you
Yes.
prepare? How did you prepare to portray the complexities of her character as she navigates pregnancy, grief, and a return to a life she wanted to leave behind?
Oh man, I think this season was an emotional roller coaster for me personally. One, because I was actually pregnant in real life, so I feel like a lot of the emotions that I needed to portray came out a lot easier than I was expecting. Like I know, like for instance, scenes where you have to cry or scenes where you have to pull out emotion, sometimes those can be difficult, especially if you just came from walking down the hallway with Nijah and you cracking up and now you got to go in the scene and cry. But I think I remember telling her after my first take, I was like, I cried pretty easily. I was like, I think the pregnancy hormones are helping.
Yes, are helping.
So, so I think physically being in a different state helped a lot. I was able to draw from that. Actually being pregnant, not having to pretend to be pregnant. So if I'm breathing heavy, I'm breathing heavy. If I'm tired, I'm actually tired. So a lot of those things were able to come off authentically. But I think in terms of grief, I haven't necessarily lost anyone to gang violence, but I personally drew a lot from just recently losing my grandmother through COVID, being able to kind of tap into how that really feels. I think it's easy to resonate with when you've lost somebody and you're reading a script and it's about loss, or your dialogue is about loss. It was able to easily I was able to easily tap into those memories and just think about how to empathize with Kold. Like I know how she's feeling. I know what it means to lose someone you love and what that looks like, how to evoke that emotion. So I think those were the things I kind of tapped into. And then just the rapping is it's the same as season 1, just practicing some of the songs from season 1, remembering Kold's energy, but also trying to take on a new energy, listening to some of my favorite artists and kind of mimicking them and performing in the mirror and trying to just tap into the performing side as well.
Very good. And then over to you, Miss Nijah. What can you tell us about Renee's loyalty and personal battles, and what challenges will she face both on and off the mic this season?
I think a lot of challenges she faces is just making sure that some of the things that she's battling internally stay inside, because it's another season of like trying to act like everything is okay and it's not okay. And I think also she does feel the strain of her and Cole's relationship. I mean, it's evident in some episodes. I think in the first 2 episodes, it's evident like, oh, these girls aren't as close. And because of that loyalty, like you mentioned, and I'm not Shakia, because of Kold meaning so much to her, it's like she does not want to lose that. And I think her way of not losing it is kind of just coasting by and just kind of trying to put in Cole's head, it's fine, everything's good, like we have a record deal, things like that. So I definitely feel like this season is a little bit more, at certain times, a little bit more easier on Wendy. And so she's just kind of like living in a world where everything, because like she really wanted a record deal and she got the record deal. It wasn't as much money as we wanted, but it's happening. So she's excited.
And obviously, Kold and Wendy, their relationship is central to this show. Their dynamic is the heartbeat of the show. How does their bond change this season with all the new conflicts and betrayals?
Honestly, I feel like season 1, we were arguing every scene still. Like at first I was like, we're arguing so much this season, but once I rewatched season 1, Kold and Wendy are sisters. They fight like sisters. They still have their moments where they can laugh and they can joke about things. But I do feel like season 1 was a lot more, even though they fought a lot in season 1, I felt like they were still on the same page as far as where they wanted their careers to go. I think season 2, they still want to be successful, but I feel like they're not at the same place emotionally. I feel like Kold is in a place where she's grieving, she's not as happy, And it's hard for her to allow Wendy to celebrate this newfound experience. Being with a record deal is it's a huge accomplishment. And I think even Wendy calls her a Debbie Downer. It's like you're stomping on my parade. Like this is a moment we should be celebrating, but you're depressed. But also Kold is like, I just lost somebody and I don't know how to celebrate this moment. So I think they're kind of not on the same page in terms of how to celebrate and how to be happy, because one person truly isn't happy and there just isn't any balance in terms of how they're supposed to celebrate this experience. There really is no celebrating this experience. Season 1, Kold was, at least towards the end, she was in a place where she kind of was trying to go solo. And she was kind of practicing, doing her own thing, making beats. You don't really see her making beats this season. You kind of see her taking a step back from some of the progress she was making. And I think having Marlon around gave her the strength to do that. It felt like, oh, this is a new life. I can run off into the sunset with my man and my new career. And now that he's gone, she's going backwards in a sense. So I think she's kind of unsure of her career, because I know she doesn't want to continue to rap about violence. That's not something she wants to do, because that's kind of stomping on Marlon's grave to even go backwards. That's not something he would have wanted for her. But she's also in a place where she's like, I'm still in this group. This is all I have right now. I can't go solo right now. I'd be totally alone. I'm gonna isolate myself even more. And it's like she feels like she needs Wendy, at least to help her get through this part, even though Wendy isn't necessarily helping in terms of her grieving process. I think she's kind of in a place where she feels like it's better to not be alone. I'd rather take the craziness of Wendy so that I can at least have something that's kind of familiar.
Wendy is dealing with her own inner demons, obviously. Can you kind of elaborate on whether or not we'll see a more vulnerable side to her this season, and what kind of setbacks or growth she'll experience?
Ooh, without spoiling it, of course, I definitely think you will see a very, very vulnerable side to Wendy for sure. She definitely will experience some setbacks, of course. That's like, because everything seems to be going, like, I feel like both people really aren't happy. I think Kold is actually being honest that she's not happy. And Wendy is like, everything's not great, but she thinks if she acts like it is, it'll make things better. So there definitely will be some twists and turns, because you'll start to see that her acting like and seeming like everything's fine and ignore her issues, that it's not sustainable. Like eventually things will definitely come crashing down for sure. So you got to tune in on Thursday, baby, because it's a lot. It's a lot going down.
Do you have a favorite or standout episode? Does your character have a standout episode this season that, just really highlights your skill as an actress, your do y'all write your own lyrics? You don't write your own lyrics for these. Yeah, that's what I thought. I did interview the rapper, I think, the woman that's behind some of these tunes. I interviewed her last season, I do believe. Say that again?
Miss Dredre.
Miss Dredre?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, okay. So do you have, Nijah, any standout episodes that you're excited about fans experiencing? And if so, what can you kind of tease about that episode?
I am definitely excited about some new characters, like some new people that are coming into Wendy's life, and like what that relationship would be like, what that would look like, and what that play. Because I mean, I think I pretty much, it's just kind of like Box World people or Gigi or Kold. So I'm excited for new people to come into Wendy's life and for y'all to see like what that is going to be about. So, yeah.
I'm excited about episode 6. That's when Kold and Wendy pull a really big stain. That's not a spoiler per se, because that's in the description. But I think it's just insane that Malika's doing stains while she's pregnant. It just doesn't make any sense to me. So right. I just feel like when the audience is watching, they're just gonna be like, Malika, what are you doing? Like, you should be at home with your feet up, relaxing, but you're hitting a stain and you're like 9 months pregnant. So the stain felt wild even while we were shooting it, because I was just like, how is Malika doing this? She's got a gun, she's doing this thing, and it's just it's so interesting. But I think people love the stain because it just feels like 007 heist film
Yeah.
type of feeling. So I think that's exciting. And I don't think they've seen Kold and Wendy actually hit a stain together ever before. So this is like, I mean, they hit stains together throughout the season, but it's kind of alluded to that. But this is the one where you actually see Kold and Wendy in action. So it's kind of like you can assume this is who Kold and Wendy used to be before Kold decided not to do stains anymore. And now that they're back to kind of doing the stick ups and stains together, you kind of see them in action. So I thought that was exciting.
Okay, so I have to ask for all our Black nerds out there and all our Black folks who are not about that life, please tell us what a stain is.
A stain is pretty much like Malika's pretty much doing like high level crimes. So a stain is kind of like hitting a lick. It's like the same thing. Like if anybody's heard of hitting a lick, it's like you're about to take on like this extensive process in order to get money. So it could be like season one, her stain was she impersonated a girl and then stole all her money from her bank accounts. So it's kind of white collar crime with a little bit of street crime because it's like credit card fraud, like those type of things.
Well,
so
dangerous.
season two, yeah. So season two, the stains are a little bit more high level. She's getting a lot smarter. She's able to hack computers. She's able to do a lot of, I mean, she was doing that too season one, but you can just see that Malika's her level of expertise is getting higher and she's just kind of able to do a lot more impressive crimes, so to speak. But these aren't baby crimes. These are crimes that could get you put away for a very long time.
Right.
So
girl, thank you for breaking that down, because some of us don't know stick talk. Okay, some of us have to ask, some of us have to go right to the source and get the true tea. Okay, so Nijah was just kind of talking about the fresh characters, right, coming this season, fresh new characters, some of the heightened tension. So ladies, without giving too much away, right, how do these new elements that we're going to see introduced this season impact your characters in the dynamic within Kold and Wendy?
Like with the new characters, I feel like you're able to see different sides. I feel like I was just saying before that we're very layered. There's different sides to us, like even seeing vulnerability. There's different, like, I guess, subsides to like even vulnerability. So I feel like with new characters being introduced, or even you like getting upset or getting angry, like I feel like it's going to show something new and something different. Like, oh, like you didn't see this coming because it's never been done before in the season.
I think it shows that I think it's relevant to real life because Kold and Wendy so far they've kind of been in their own bubble season one. And I think season two with K-Town showing up and then the new record deal, I think they're being elevated to a new environment, but you're also showing how they may not necessarily be ready for this elevation because with any industry there's competition. You're not just in your bubble. There's always going to be someone coming for your spot. There's always going to be someone that's trying to take your place. And if you're not always prepared, if you're not always ready to show up and show out, your light can be dimmed by somebody else's. And I think that's where Kold and Wendy are in season two, where they're in this new place. They're in the place that they've always wanted to be, which is a record deal. But you kind of see that they might not be ready for it, and someone else might be able to come in and take an opportunity that should have been for them, that they've really worked hard for, but they're just not at the place. They're not ready.
Nijah, what are you most excited about fans and newcomers experiencing when they deep dive into the second season?
Ooh, I'm most excited about their responses because it's like I think what I think and I feel how I feel. So I'm excited for people to say things that I haven't thought of or to theorize certain things. Like I'm excited to see their response for sure and to see how people actually relate in real life, like in real time, like to these characters. That's what I'm excited about. And just for each like twist and turn, because I've only seen up to episode 2 actually. So I'll be watching live with everyone else. Like, I mean, I could go back and read the script, but it's like, I want to see, So
Yeah.
You'll be live tweeting as you watch along, perhaps?
Yes, I love to tweet. I mean, I know, like, I don't know what time, of course, since it just drops at midnight when everyone's going to be watching it. But once I see it, I'll put it in my 2 cents and retweet. I love retweeting other things that people have said too. The gifts, the memes, it's so funny. So funny.
What message do you hope viewers take away from the new season, especially regarding the challenges your characters face in both their personal lives and within the music industry?
I hope people take from this show, for anyone who's interested in being in the industry, that they understand that it's not easy. It's not an there is no such thing as an overnight success, even though some people might like to use that term. There is hard work to obtain success, and then there's hard work to maintain the success. And you kind of see Kold and Wendy constantly putting in the work, but still not feeling like they're at the level they're supposed to be. Even when they sign their record deal and they get a portion of what they thought they were going to get, it sets into the reality that no, you still have to work for every dollar. You still have to work for everything that you get. You have to work for. Like, nothing is given to you in this career or in life. And the glitz and glamour may be what everybody's, chasing, and they think that life is sweet, but in reality, a lot of artists are broke. A lot of artists are struggling. A lot of artists are living paycheck to paycheck. A lot of artists are in debt to their careers because this is a pay it forward type of career. You got to pay up front, and then you recoup your money and your benefits on the back end. And sometimes you don't recoup. Most times you don't recoup. So I hope people take from this that you got to be serious about your career. You got to be focused about your career. You can't burn bridges. We see a lot of that happening this season, where Kold and Wendy get the opportunity of a lifetime, and they don't necessarily rise to the occasion to maintain what they've earned. So learning that if you want to be in this career, you're an entrepreneur. Like, you got to get up and get it on your own every single day. No one's gonna clock you in. No one's gonna clock you out. You have to be the CEO of your life when you're an artist. So I just hope people realize it ain't sweet if you ain't ready. If you ain't ready for it.
Right on. Ladies, that is my time. I want to thank you. I'm looking forward to sharing this conversation with my readers. Thank you so much for giving me your time.
Thank
you so much for talking with us.
For your time. Yes.
Absolutely. You ladies have a great rest of your day.